Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while. Good morning, all y'all. It is Friday, Friday, December the 8th, 2023, and this is episode 122 of the Holstein House broadcast, answering your questions on hosting a B&B from your home, your pantry questions, your food preparation and storage questions, and more. And today is going to be kind of a laid-back day. Not that many of mine are very, very busy, but pardon me again. We're going to talk a little bit about the doctor's appointment I had yesterday, that little situation that I've been dealing with for really longer than the summer, apparently. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin and what's going on over there. It does look like on my end, it does look like the issue with iTunes is resolved. I am seeing some numbers from the iTunes for the podcast, and I am glad to see that I got that resolved. I don't know what happens if I may never make it this far, but if I go over 999 broadcasts, I don't know what happens next, because that's as high as I could select on the feed. So what apparently had happened is I had it set at 99, and then when I rolled over 100, which was obviously 22 podcasts ago, it stopped because the programming thought that's all there was. So kind of like V'ger in the Star Trek movie, the first Star Trek full-length movie. Is there nothing else? So there wasn't going anywhere. So I was able to dig around and figure that out and got that fixed, it looks like. So I am seeing a little bit of response back from that. And I do appreciate, if you are a new listener, I do appreciate you, and hope you will hang around, and hope you will send suggestions and questions and things so that we can have a little conversation. And maybe at some point we'll have some of you guys come on live and share the screen. If you like, we can do that. That's easily done. So yeah, let me know what you think. So if you are listening somewhere and you have posted, "Hey Robin, I hear you on this, XYZ podcast app," and I haven't replied back, probably because I don't have that app on my phone. And if you would go to RobinHolstein.com, go to the contact page, page from the menu, and just send me a note. I'll do what I can to reply back so that I'm not ignoring you. I just don't have all the apps at my fingertips. Fountain is my biggest one, and I do love my folks over at Fountain. Fountain.fm is a value for value podcasting app, which means if you like what you hear, you can pay me in Satoshis. Some people call it tip, and that's okay. It's kind of not really a tip. You're just acknowledging what you think what I shared with you is worth to you in the denominations of Satoshis, which is percentages of Bitcoin. And I do appreciate all my folks over there as well. So if you're over there, say, hey, it only takes 10 Satoshis or something like that to say hello. And that's not even a penny, is it? It's not even a penny. So I'd love to hear from you. I don't have a tremendous lot going on as far as the broadcast this morning. I do have just all kinds of craziness going on. Obviously, it's the holiday season. There's a lot going on with the church. There's a lot going on at the church, and there's a lot to get ready for. And if I can get my voice straightened back up, or even at least a little bit better, I need to work on some songs for our Christmas service. We obviously, and we've had this conversation before, ours is a very, very small congregation, and we don't have a choir anymore at all. So there's not a program. So what we'll do is a couple of individual solos and then things on Christmas Sunday. So, but I can't do it if my voice is just trashed. But we'll see. I still got time. I got time. I mean, I'm not bouncy and I'm not swift, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes I think it does, but it doesn't. It doesn't really have to be perfect at all, does it? So there's not a whole lot going on around the house that isn't standard, traditional, running to doctor's appointments and taking care of the dogs and the cats and the chickens and the ducks and the laundry and the cleaning and the cooking and the canning and things like that. We do have the calendar for our B&B closed until, I think let me see if I can find it real quick. On my calendar over here, I have some dates available. And they're mostly closed related to medical appointments. Oh, darn it. This dumb thing. Related to medical appointments and events and things like our Christmas dinner and stuff. So we have some time open. Actually, I could open up next Wednesday. I have Wednesday closed, but we don't have a Bible study. So next week, really. Yeah. Check in on Monday. Actually, it could be from the 10th through the 18th. Those dates are open if you are traveling to or through West Virginia using the West Virginia Turnpike, which is Interstates 64 and 77, and you're looking for a spot to stop. We can do that. I don't have any appointments that conflict with check-ins and check-outs through then. So you can go to robinholstein.com and go to the Holstein House tab on the menu, and you can direct book, which is a better rate if you direct book, and you have a couple other options there. Or you can go to Airbnb. I mean, I'll take Airbnb. It's fine. I've been with Airbnb a long time, so I've got a history with them. Yeah, so you can do that. Love to have you. And if you can't, if you have trouble with it, reach out to me. Go to the contacts page. Reach out to me. Let me know. We'll see. Pardon me. We'll see what we can do. So I'll jump right in. If you've been listening for a while, you know that I've been having some issues with my lungs, and I finally talked to which I have sleep apnea, so I use a CPAP machine anyway. So I talked to my pulmonologist about that, and he took my history. I told him, I said, I have a wheeze when I do things like walk upstairs. Or do anything exertive, like, bring the bird feed in from the car and stuff, which is stuff that I do all the time, which I wouldn't expect that I would start wheezing and gasping if there was nothing wrong. I'd had my my annual cardiology appointment, had my cardiac stress test. That all came out just fine. I said, I know my weight is really unacceptable. I get that. But if I need to know what's doing this so that I know, is it just my weight causing it? Is it something else? So he took my history. I have a history of smoking over 20 years, smoking menthol cigarettes. I've been quit over 20 years. So, yeah. So, yeah. So I'm not an active smoker, but there are long-term effects that could still crop up over time, and we all know these things. All of us who are adults, we get it. And so he wanted to rule out smoking related interstitial fibrosis. And so he ordered a high density MRI. I had that done, and went back to him to follow up yesterday. And we talked a little bit, and he said there's nothing major. There's no tumors. There's no fibrosis going on. There's no pneumonia. There's no anything weird happening that should cause this. And based on your history and what you're telling me, this is asthma. And I said, well, okay then. And he said, and he had I don't want to call him an intern, but he probably was, but he had a guy with him that was, shadowing him and studying, and he'd come in and talk to me too. And he said, now you have a history of asthma as a child. I said, you can look back and do it and say, yeah, that's probably what that was. I was never diagnosed. And the young man said, he said, so you never had an inhaler as a child? I said, I don't even know if they made inhalers when I was a child. I said, remember, I was born in 65. So these issues, these hospitalizations for pneumonia and stuff were happening from, like, well, I'll say 68, 69, 70. So I'm 4, 5, 6 years old when this is happening. And then, I mean, it was traumatic. I would go in, of course, I'd be sick with a fever and couldn't breathe, and had pneumonia and coughing and carrying on. And my fever would be so high, sometimes they would pack me in ice to bring it down. And sometimes they'd undress me except for my underthings, and put a sheet over me and pour rubbing alcohol on that sheet to pull that fever down. And I mean, to this day, rubbing alcohol just brings all that back. I mean, it's almost like a traumatic memory. It just was terrible. And the packing me in ice, I'm not so sure if that's not why I can't tolerate the cold very well. I'm not so sure that it didn't do damage to my skin and my nerve system or something. There's no evidence of that, but it's crazy. I can't do the cold. It may not have anything to do with it, but yeah. So he says, yeah, this just looks like asthma, and he prescribed me the inhaler before he had given me samples of it to use, and he went ahead and wrote the prescription for it, and I took it to. We usually have to have a mail order pharmacy, but since the way he wrote this, and I needed it to have it right away, I took it over to the Walmart pharmacy that we use, and like clockwork, the dogs are barking. And I got I dropped it off. There was a big line. Our Walgreens pharmacy closed. So now everybody's shuffled to the Walmart pharmacy, and it's constantly lined out. I mean, you've got a 10-minute wait, even if your stuff's ready. So I dropped it off, and I got a text message while I was in the store shopping that they don't have it. It's not in stock, and they had to order it. And let me see real quick what it says. It says Air Supra, which is the name of the inhaler, is out of stock. We've ordered it, and we'll text in 1 to 2 days when ready to pick up, stop to stop, and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe I'll have it, maybe I won't. I probably can go over to the office and get another sample, and I probably need to do that, but I can't get over there today. It's not going to happen, and they're closed tomorrow. So I probably have the inhaler that I have has extra in it, so that I forget how it is, so that you can, if you don't use it for a few days, you can waste one or something and still have the right amount in there. So I drained the one I had before, because he gave me 4 of them, but his staff made the appointment 5 weeks later. So I actually ran out before my appointment, but I was trying to get the very last little bit out of the of the inhaler that I could get, so it probably wasn't enough because I'm really kind of struggling. So it's just been it's just been a challenge. It's really been a challenge. Well, it'll get straightened out. I mean, eventually. And I don't know. I guess they can mail those. Once I get this one, I can have the mail order pharmacy transfer the prescription. Maybe I may be able to do that. Maybe if I don't hear from Walmart. Well, I'm trying to think of what all I've got going on. I've got to cut the turkey up. I have to cook the breast. I have to can the. It's just going to be hard. So and then tomorrow is the church dinner, and I have to pick the stuff up at the turkey and the ham and stuff at Bob Evans. Normally I would have gotten it at our local Shoney's, but I wasn't able to do it in time. They couldn't fill the order by the time I was able to get over there because they have to order it and all that stuff. But anyway, maybe if I haven't heard from Walmart after the dinner tomorrow, I can go to a different pharmacy and see if they have it and see if they can pull it from or transfer it over from Walmart. I have to think it through. We'll see. We will see. So there's that. I am thankful to the Lord that it's not the fibrosis. I'm thankful it's not emphysema or COPD. Asthma is kind of looked at lightly by a lot of people, and there are some people who just have exercise induced or something like that. Apparently, based on what the doctor said, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to use this inhaler twice a day for till I croak. So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, Hunter, how are you? I think let me know if you need a bump. I have an extra floating around somewhere. I'm not sure. A bump of what? I'm not sure what you're telling me you have a bump of. If you want a thumbs up, yeah, come on. I'm glad to see you. I hope your holidays are about to go okay. I never know who celebrates what, but obviously we celebrate Christmas around here. Medicine. Oh, you take Air Supra or Air Supra? Because that's the only thing I'm looking for. And I'm not really looking for, not like trying to do a deal anywhere. That's just, oh, okay. You do have asthma. Okay. It's cold induced. Well, I don't, I'm not really sure why this kicked up when it did. I just kind of noticed a cough, if I stop and think about it, I'd been having it off and on for a long time, but I just kept noticing that I was coughing out through the day a lot more. And going out in the cold does bother me. And I'm going to tell you something else that bothers me. And I have mentioned it before, is those stupid pine cones that are soaked in cinnamon oil or whatever thing that's supposed to make it smell like cinnamon oil. Those things will lock my lungs up and always have. I can smell them from 4 or 5 aisles away at the stores, and I have to make a beeline or hold my breath and stay away from it because it really will just irritate my lungs to pieces. And I've never been a big cinnamon fan anyway. Light flavor of cinnamon, like in a cinnamon roll or an apple pie or an apple cake or something like that. But that's not the same thing. I don't like those little red hots, cinnamon red hots. Ugh, those are no good. And my dad likes the cinnamon Brock's candy cinnamon discs. He likes those. So he eats those, but I don't like anything like that. I don't like the cinnamon hard candy. I don't like any of that stuff. So, but yeah, the smell of those they just kill me. Excuse me. I should have block that. So I'm not really sure what set this off. I'm wondering. I can't remember now when we replaced the condenser for the air conditioning system, and the receipts around here somewhere because we need it for our taxes, and I got to start on my tax prep here real soon. Um, and if I look at that, it may have been that I was telling Mr. Holstein yesterday. Well, I was texting him what the doctor had said, and he was saying, well, dogs and cats and chickens and ducks. And I thought, yeah, but that's not new. That's not new. I've been around those for a long time. This feels like something new that's bothered me. And I got to thinking when he replaced that air conditioning condenser and the drip pan or whatever it is for that in the unit, um, he stirred up a lot in the basement, and maybe that's been it. Um, but it doesn't go away when I'm not in the basement. So whatever it is sticking around. May not be related to that at all. May just simply be asthma, and just that's how it is. Like if you cut your arm off, you can't feel, you can't lift anything with no arm, and it's just simply there's no arm there. So it may just simply be asthma, and we'll get it worked out one way or another. It'll either be better or it won't. It'll be better or it won't. But yeah, the cold does aggravate it, and it has always bothered me a little bit. Um, but I'm not usually out in it much because I can't stand to be out in it. I hate the cold. I hate the cold. But there's nowhere really. I mean, when I look at a map of the United States and think where I would like to live, where so many people are moving down like to Tennessee and stuff, climate wise, I think I'm probably in a pretty good spot. We're not. We very rarely have any kind of tornado warning. Hurricanes, by the time they get to other, are nothing. Um, we get rain off of hurricanes. We don't actually get a lot of hurricane, not force winds or anything like that. Flooding in the state can be a problem in certain areas. For my area where I'm at right now, I personally have not had to deal. I've had the basement get water in it, but I've not had to deal with the massive floodings that some of the other folks have had to. The heat gets hot for a few days and that's it. The cold gets cold for about a week or so and that's about it. So I'm really kind of good where I'm at. Hunter says, if you had worked on the AC unit inside, that will knock anyone out. Mr. Holstein did all of that. I didn't do it. I was in the house, but I wasn't down here and messing with it at all. So I mean, but my thought with that was the duct work. Of course, what's in here is not properly done, and he didn't do the duct work here, but it's all that flexible junk, and it's just kind of hanging from the ceiling, and it's just not right. It's probably what they could afford. I don't want to, you know, badmouth. Of course, they've all passed away now, but I don't want to badmouth anybody, but it's not, and what you see me doing is I'm looking at it. I can see some of this flexible ductwork hanging. What I'm thinking is that the work that he did may have knocked loose a bunch of stuff. So in that ductwork, but I do have those. I don't have any of them right here within arm's reach because I wasn't planning on talking about it. They're little filters. They're about this size, and you can trim them to fit into the floor vents. I keep those in the floor vents, and they do. I started doing that to keep the dogs and the cat dirt, because dogs and cats and people drag dirt in, and where they put the floor vents in this house is also some of the dumbest places you could have ever put them. They're like right in the middle of a room. It's just crazy. So you're walking on top of them all the time. Whereas a lot of places will have those floor vents near a window, and you're not necessarily walking up on that all the time. And so the ductwork is full of dog and cat hair and dirt and stuff. And you can take your vacuum cleaner hose and stick down in there, but you can't always get it. But and then they put one over about where you have to put the trash can if you have a trash can in the kitchen. I mean, because you don't want your trash can on top of right up against where you're working. You'd have to see the house. But so where it goes and where the dog food and the cat food and stuff is, just anyway, those filters keep some of that from falling back down into the ductwork, and then also helps keep anything that might have sneaked past the filter in the basement out from blowing out in the room. And I do keep my filters changed on my HVAC system pretty well. So, and they do get nasty. I mean, they are nasty looking. I change them about every 3 months, and with the change of the seasons, so I'll be changing them again here. No, excuse me, in a couple of weeks. So that'll, because it'll be the winter solstice. Pardon me, I don't know why I'm doing that. And so I'll get those. That'll get that changed out. Like this is the 8th. In about 2 weeks, I'll change them out again. I got to order some more. So I hope I can get them. Hey, over on Rumble, be sure and say hello. Be sure and say hello. I'm looking at my other screen over here, my other monitor over here. And I want to make sure people say hey when you're over there on the Rumble. So yeah, I try to keep the filters changed out, and the floor filters. I don't change. Man, maybe I should work that into better. I usually change the floor filters when they look like they need them. Maybe I should make it more of a point to change them all the time, more frequently, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, so yeah, the asthma, I get to learn how to officially deal with that, I guess, and officially deal with it as I try to exercise, because I've been riding my bike trainer to the chagrin of my rear end, if pardon the rhyme there. It's not used to sitting on a bike for 30 minutes, and so it's a little hateful. For motorcycles, for motorcyclists who cruise, who take long trips, they make this powder called monkey butt, and it's supposed to help keep your rear end from being chafed. When you ride your motorcycle long distances, I may have to get some of that. And the label actually looks like what you think it looks like. So it's it's funny. I haven't ridden. We haven't been out on our motorcycles in ages. I guess I could still hold the bike up. I don't know. I got a Harley Davidson Sportster. I haven't had it out in ages. I don't have time. I don't have time to take it out. And of course, now it's not the right kind of weather, but I'm ashamed of myself. I told Mr. Holstein maybe we should sell both of our bikes, because he's got is it Suzuki? Is it a Marauder or Boulevard? I want to say it's a Boulevard. I always get that backwards. I think it's a Boulevard. I can't remember. Mine's a Harley. That's what I know. We haven't been out in forever, and I told him we need to either sell the bikes and get a trike, because we're both getting a little too old. If we fall over, we'll break a hip, may not heal, or just sell the bikes. I don't want to, but I'm looking at the reality that we're not riding them. We don't have time to ride them. And they need to be ridden like a horse. They need to be ridden, not stored. Oh, I scared my Rumble person away. They left. Sorry, people. No, I shouldn't say it that way. I don't mean it that way, but I guess when I said you should say hello, it scared them off. So anyway, there's all of that. Hunter, I don't know that you and I live close enough together but I do appreciate the offer. I'll get it one way or another. I mean, it might be a hard weekend for me, and really it really shouldn't be any worse than it had been. I would think that even though I was feeling better with it, I would think that I wouldn't be any worse than when I started taking it by not having it for a few days. So, it probably won't be that long. It probably won't be that long. I'll go, if I don't hear from Walmart pharmacy, um, if I don't hear from the Walmart pharmacy by tomorrow after our church dinner, I may run out because the Walgreens pharmacy is in Kanawha City and it's like 8-10 miles away. So Walmart's just one. Oh yeah, quick! I could hop on my Harley and ride down there and pick that up from me. That's right. We've had this conversation before. I'm sorry. I sometimes forget when I don't talk to people often enough. I do remember you said you were in Dallas because we talked about. I mentioned that my aunt and uncle had been in Garland. I remember that now. I'm so sorry. I feel awful for that. Hunter says, I don't know, riding down to the church, those quick trips, well, the church is just a block away. And I probably wouldn't look too good hopping off of the Harley, even if it is just a block away in a skirt. So that probably wouldn't go over too well. I do occasionally wear slacks. I do occasionally wear slacks. So I mean, I guess I could do that. Just ride it around the corner. But um, I don't have. Do I have my saddlebags on there? I can't remember now. I have my saddlebags on. It's Mr. Holstein starts the bikes up and stuff, but they're basically stored. So he'll start them up to keep the batteries going, but they're basically stored. Um, well, I could probably do maybe, yeah, maybe. But I could ride. I could hop on the bike right down to Dallas, pick up the inhaler. It's like a 24. It's not quite 24 hours. It's about because it's like 4 hours from Dallas to Copper's Cove, I think, isn't it? 3 or 4 hours from Dallas, but well, it may not be now, but back in the day when I was down there, because it was like almost exactly 24 hours from my parents' house to where we lived on base when I lived in Fort Hood or whatever they call it now. I think they changed the name of it, which is dumb. Erase the history and the people will have nothing. Will have nothing. You erase the history and then the people are lost, and then you give them a new history and they'll follow you anywhere. Oh, I don't want to do that on a Friday. So, but yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun, the asthma thing. So there's really not a whole lot else going on. I was just going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, only in because of how high it's gotten. I mean, it is. Let me check real quick because I've looked at that a bunch of times. I woke the dog had to go out in the middle of the night, so that woke me up. And then I checked it, and I'm like, wow, that's really high. So Bitcoin, as of right now, according to my Fold app, FOLD Fold app, is at $44,116.74 US. $44,000. Man, I remember when it was like 19, 20. I mean, and I was fretting about it. Of course, are you always going to have people that do that? I was fretting about it being around 20,000, and then I did buy a little bit. I mean, I don't have a lot. I don't have it's just enough to learn with, and I haven't gotten my cold card yet. I need to do that. I keep saying it, and I haven't done it. Oh, look, I've got a text message from Nikki Haley. What should I do with it? What should I do with my text message from Nikki Haley, y'all? Tell me. It's a text message and it says, "It's Nikki Haley. Before you exit this, Robin, please take 30 seconds to read this important message." What should I do? Tell me. Should I delete it? Should I hit the link? Should I say stop? Should I report it as junk? I'm not a Nikki Haley. Okay, so I get a bunch of junk texts from Republican candidates. They are using old, really old information. I have not been a registered Republican in 6 or 7 years. I'd have to look to be exact, but it's been that long, and they're still using my information, the RNC, to send me trash like that. Don't blast me. Don't message me like that. Hunter says, laughing, motorcycle mama telling church members that they should volunteer for something. You might get more involvement. I could, you got to have people to tell. You got to have people to tell, Hunter. The church roof thing. And we were talking a little bit about Bitcoin, but we'll circle back around to that. The church roof donations. I have the Give Send Go up, and there is a link in the description for this, for the Give Send Go for the church. And I need to, I don't know, I haven't been able to stop long enough to work on it. We technically have met the initial amount that we set, the $5,000. We're a little bit over 5,000. That's because of one person who donated $5,000, who wants to remain anonymous to the public. I know who it is, but that person doesn't want the world to know. So then we've gotten a couple additional donations through the Give Send Go, and I appreciate it. I don't want to blow that off. The more we can raise, the better for the church, because we're so tiny. We do have a couple of the members have sent personal checks in but they're most of them are on fixed income, and there's just not a whole lot they can add to their monthly offerings and tithes. So we have to get creative. But the church roof, we have spoken, we have accepted a bid, and the contractor will be starting on that. I hope pretty soon. And we're also going to apply for some grant funds from a foundation for Methodist churches in our area for things like that. So I do have that letter written. I did forward it to our supervising pastor. He wants to talk about it tomorrow. I'm not sure what his questions are, because but anyway, he wants to talk about it some more. So we'll talk about it. It'll be fine. But I mean, I don't know. I did mention, this is kind of mean. I did mention, and I was telling Dad this, back in October when we had our hot dog sale, and the pastor was sitting there, and I mentioned to him, I said, now hear me all the way through before you make a snap judgment on this. I said, I think we should consider having a topless car wash. And of course, his eyes got huge. And I said, so we advertised a topless car wash at the church. And of course, that's going to get all this buzz going and all these people upset, clutching pearls and all that, And then when they come around to get the car wash, it's men without shirts. Okay, so it's not what you think it is. But we could do something. I mean, motorcycle. I don't know what you do church related motorcycle wise to get. You wouldn't do a poker run. I don't know what kind of a theme you could do to get motorcyclists in to participate in something for the church. The only thing I know about our poker runs. So if you can give me an idea, that would be great. But so yeah, I'd be interested. Do you guys have not necessarily a whole Bitcoin, but do you have Bitcoin Satoshis or any of the others? I don't, it seems like that the other ones that are out there are, the Fanta. No, 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 not that. No, I'm not Fanta. Weiler's drink mix compared to Kool-Aid. So Bitcoin being Kool-Aid and the others being Weiler's drink mix. I think there's a few you guys probably wouldn't all understand that. They're you know what powdered Kool-Aid is. I suspect most of you do. It's just a little packet of flavor, and you dump it in the water, and you put a couple cups of sugar in, stir it up, and now you've got it's not really a fruit drink, it's a fruit flavored drink, and they have punch and all that stuff. But back in the day, that was a treat. And there was a competing brand called Weiler's. It was Weiler's drink mix. And it's kind of like calling all adhesive bandages Band-Aids, Band-Aid being a brand name. And Kool-Aid is a brand name, with Weiler's drink mix was a different brand name. And you call it Kool-Aid, but it wasn't. And anyway, so there are other crypto currencies. Now I do have a Coinbase app. I don't do anything with Coinbase except look at it and check numbers and stuff. Let's see, trends. So it says the top movers. Now this is the Coinbase app on my phone. It says the top movers are JTO and MNDE. JTO is up 107.92% at $3.58 US. Never heard of it. MNDE is up 88.83% and it's 51 cents USD. So I mean, I don't know what all these are. Here's one called Orca. Here's one called KRL. Here's one called High. I don't know what that is. Here's one called Big Time. And it's down 23.24% to 54 cents US. Here's one called ADA. Here's one called TRB. Here's one called ABT. See, these are all, I don't know if you'd consider them like penny stocks if you run in the stock market, because they're just low value, risky. One of them I almost got into. People were like, "No, don't get into that. That's an coin." Man, it's up outrageously. And if I'd have got in when I wanted to, except everybody said, "No, don't do it," I could have moved that money out by now. But I don't know what it's going to do to my taxes. My tax people have a line that says, "Do you own Bitcoin?" I think it's specific to Bitcoin. It might be generic to cryptocurrencies, but I think it's specific to Bitcoin. Well, I don't own one. I have a few Satoshis. So I left it at no. I don't recognize anything. These are pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. I don't know. You can't get the glare off. But just pages and pages. There's Ethereum. It's up 2.43% to $9.50 US. Here's one called Crypto. Shiba. I've heard of that one before. Wow. It's up 2.62%. And it's, get this, 5 decimal places over 1. So it's not even worth it. What would be it? 10 hundredths, thousandths. That's not even a millionth of a US cent. That's crazy. Dogecoin. See, everybody calls it Doge. And I know it's not dog coin, but I always look at it as like dog e-coin, because wasn't it started as a joke? Wasn't it started as a uh, as just a finger flip to other cryptos? So people didn't know how to pronounce it, and I said, "Well, it's very simple to me. It's dog E, like dog electronic, but they call it Dogecoin, and it's up 1.88% to not even a dime US." Hash flow. There's Erythrum again. Did I already see that, or is that different? Erythrum, which I think is the one that I was almost getting in at like $11 or 11, maybe it was $11. It's 2,000 now. 2,356.79 US. It's up 1.83%. Wow, these are crazy. I didn't realize there were this many. There's Erythrum. There must be something different about these, because here's a different one that says Erythrum some dot dot dot. I'm not seeing a whole badger. And there's Bitcoin. Bitcoin something. Let me see what this says. Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash. Buy crypto to spin the wheel. Bitcoin Cash is at $249.19. Don't you know somebody's getting fooled by that? Unless that's something different. They're using a very similar logo, except it's green with that funny looking bee. So it says about Bitcoin Cash. It's an official white paper. Bitcoin in its original conception was designed to be a form of digital cash people could use to make transactions online. Over time, it has evolved into a store of wealth, more like digital gold. That's because people hold it or hodl. Over time, it's evolved into a store of wealth, more like digital gold. Bitcoin Cash was created to continue the original peer-to-peer cash idea via a high-volume, low-fee network that would be accessible to anyone with an internet connection. Bitcoin Cash blockchain is based on the original Bitcoin blockchain. Based on the original Bitcoin blockchain. A major one is an increased maximum block size of. Wait a minute, I missed something. Let me start over. The Bitcoin Cash blockchain is based on the original Bitcoin blockchain, but it has some distinct differences. A major one is an increased maximum block size of 32 MB compared to just 1 MB on Bitcoin. Increased block size allows Bitcoin Cash to process transactions faster than Bitcoin with lower fees and increased per second transaction capacity. Keep in mind, Bitcoin Cash is available via virtually all exchanges and is supported by PayPal. But remember that even though it was designed to be faster and cheaper than Bitcoin, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin users have abandoned the original for a newer version. And I don't remember hearing about that before. Maybe you guys have. Let me know if you did. Let me know if you've heard about that before. Is it related to the Lightning Network? I mean, is it just another network for processing payments using Bitcoin? See, this is where I need to read some more on it. But honest to Pete, I don't have time. I need to get somebody on here to have a conversation about it. Who wants to come on and talk? Bitcoin and Lightning and crypto generally. Message me or stop over and say hello. Where am I at? 49. Because I would like to talk to you about this some more. I did have Renegade Butcher on back almost a year ago. It's been a while. God love him. We had a conversation. I think it included a little bit about Bitcoin. He helped me a lot. He did help me a lot when I was trying to get started with setting up some of these, like the Fold app and stuff. He really helped me. I hope he's doing okay. I haven't heard from him in a long time. I hope people say hello. I mean, this thing just keeps scrolling. I've been sitting here scrolling this whole time, except for what I was reading to you, and I don't see it repeating. So, and this is on the Coinbase app, and it's just these. I never heard. I had no idea. Oh, there's the real Bitcoin. I had no idea that there were so many different cryptocurrencies. I thought there was, like, I don't know, maybe 75 or so, but geez Louise. Okay, so Bitcoin is at, and it's bouncing around, 43,871.56. It looks like it's burped a little bit. It was up to 44, and then it dropped, like, I don't know, 50 cents or something. Now it's bumping around there again. But so this one says Bitcoin is the world's first widely adopted cryptocurrency. And I guess it's the most trusted, really. I mean, you wouldn't be at 43,000 if it wasn't. But there's a lot to learn on that. It's almost like a whole different language. It's not just a different type of, and the easiest way for most of us to look at it is a currency. And I know people get all tore up about that, but for the layperson, for the person who's not in it all the time and not making a profession of it, and just may want to have a little bit, stored up, like some people will have a little bit of gold, some people have a little bit of silver. It's not their whole portfolio, if you want to get fancy language there. It can be a challenge to understand all of it. And there's a thing called the halving coming up. And I think it means it's going to split, but I just don't have time to read all of this stuff. And keep up with it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as I look down or away from you, because I'm still reading this on the app. And I apologize for that's rude. But yeah, so I'm my little bit of Satoshi's has increased, obviously. I do need to put a little more in there. I'm kind of strapped right now, so I have to work on that. But have you dabbled with it? Have you been investing in Bitcoin? Or do you prefer a different cryptocurrency? Be interested in hearing your thoughts on that. So you can message me and let me know. Let me know. Oh, we'll get ready to wind down here. Now the ducks are laying every day. I sold a bunch of eggs yesterday. So my two little girls are laying just like troopers every day. Wish they'd find a spot and lay them like they're supposed to. There's laying in the coop, obviously, because that's where they're confined. But I go in and I have to be careful where I step, because sometimes they'll be in the little nesting box that I have down in the corner. That's a traditional nesting box. Or there may be one over here and one over there and one over here and one over there. So I had at one time, I had one of those ceramic eggs that you use to put in the nests to encourage chickens to always come to the nest box so that they get the idea, hey, this is where the eggs go. And it did work. It also works to help break an egg eater. If you have a hen in your flock that is breaking and eating eggs, because they'll do that, the little cannibals will, you can use these ceramic eggs, and of course they pack them and they're really hard, and then they get discouraged and they stop doing that. But I picked it up one day. It was pretty dirty because it'd been in there for a long time, and the ducks had sat on it and stuff. And ducks are dirtier or they're at least wetter than chickens. But anyway, it needed a good scrub, and I picked it up not thinking. I thought, oh, this is really old, because at that point I had one of my ducks was hiding eggs. I thought, oh, this is an old one. I pitched it over the yard. I know, as soon as I heard that thing hit, I thought, oh, that's been my ceramic egg. So I need to get a new one of those one of these times. Tomorrow's a church dinner. What I'm going to be doing today, and I hope to record it and post it. That is my plan, if everything works out, I'm going to be cutting up a turkey. This week, my Walmart had turkeys averaging about 12 pounds for 50 cents a pound. Now, people, you need to understand, meat for your family for 50 cents a pound. You should not be passing that up. Buy a pack of Kool-Aid instead of a case of pop, and buy a turkey. Cut it up and either freeze it, cook it, can it, or a little bit of all of that. So what I'm doing today is I'll be portioning out this turkey. It's about a 12-pound bird. I'll cut off the drumsticks and the wings and all that stuff, and I'm gonna cut it down and just cook the breast to take to the church dinner tomorrow. And if everything works like it should, I'm going to be baking, and I'll be filming it. And I had a brain moment there because it just dawned on me. I don't know if I've got enough time, if my StreamYard is going to record all of this or not, because I also put in a new SD card to download to get some of the time off. Yeah, I should be okay. So my StreamYard is almost full. All right, let me back up. The turkey at whole frozen turkeys, they're butterball turkeys. They're not the little weird brands, which are still good, but this is a butterball turkey, 12-pound turkey, 50 cents a pound. Hamburger's not that cheap. Beef isn't that cheap. Pork isn't that cheap. Chickens are not that cheap. Whole chickens are not 50 cents a pound. You can get leg quarters for like 78 cents a pound. But this is a whole bird, and I'm going to record cutting it apart. Then hopefully I'll record canning some of the meat. And if I can get my meat grinder, I'm going to grind some of it. Hopefully I can get all that put together. It kind of caught me off guard because I didn't expect the sale this week. I was going to get a turkey breast, and then I walk in there and there's 50 cents a pound bird. And I'm like, I could have taken the whole bird. So because turkey breasts are like $2 a pound. I mean, it's really high. So be on the lookout for that video coming soon, I hope. But listen, if you're within the sound of my voice in the United States, start checking now. Even if you just put it in the freezer for now. If you've got room in your freezer, if you don't make some room in your freezer, get one of these birds. This is meat for your family. 50 cents a pound. It may never be that low. It's not going to be that low after the first of the year, I can tell you that. And it's probably just going to be higher. So I encourage you to check with your local store, big box store, local home store. Check on the price of turkeys. Hams should be going on sale as well. They probably won't be as low as that, but it should be coming up pretty soon. So at this point, I just want to remind you, I'm going to start wrapping up. If you've got this far, and God bless you, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. Let them know that this is a fairly decent little place to come to watch a video and to learn a little bit. I am very behind on my videos other than the live streams, and I do apologize. It's just tremendous amount of stuff happening all the time. So I hope to get that settled soon, and check out the links below. Consider donating to my church Give, Send, Go for our new roof. We will have to do the project in 2 halves. We have to do the sanctuary first, then we'll have to do the fellowship hall. And it's going to take everything we have in our bank account, and we need as much as we can donated to help offset that so that we can keep the lights on after we get the roof fixed. So I do appreciate all of you guys. I usually don't ask that type of thing from you, but it is really important for our little church to be able to continue. So with that, I'm going to call it, and I do appreciate you being here, and thank you so much, and have a great weekend. We will see you on Tuesday. Bye-bye. So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.